Hi, Chiquis. Welcome to your PPP number 10. Today, 3 takeaways from my vacation in Mexico. I just came back from an incredible week of family time. Incredible nourishment for me it's been. I didn't know just how much I needed to fill up my well with rest, that there is power in rest and power in surrendering to and living in the present moment. I was really reminded of that. So my 3 takeaways and learnings. The first one is how to show up empty. I'm going to elaborate on that in a minute. So in Chic West, we speak often how to show up with edge and how to, our small daily acts of bravery, which really mean to show up, no matter how small the step seems, or no matter how trivial the action or that like moving the needle feels, doesn't matter. We show up as we are. We show up messy. We show up wild. We show up tired. We show up happy. We show up, every day, but we show up. But I want to explore something that I really learned this week was how to show up empty, and I really love that concept. The second thing is the giving and receiving principle, and I have another stories. I'm full of stories today about that. Something that I really learned kind of deep in my bones and deep in my core as well. And the third thing, I just want to chat a little bit about me going away to India. How's it going to work on the platform? How can you get in touch with me? Why am I going to India? Why? So I just let you in the know. Enjoy. Vacation, and for me, vacation is really a time to live in and revive my soul rituals. It's a time where I get to paint, usually, outside because the weather is really nice. It's a time where I get to go to other teachers' yoga classes, something I really love to do, to just kind of get out of my own way, get out of my kind of safety zone. And the yoga classes there, they're really inspiring. The teachers are just really high class. So that's been really, again, just like this rekindling of inspiration that I feel when I travel. I know travel's not for everybody, but for me, it's really been this way to break out of my little box and step out of and into a field of kind of this unknown. And traveling is really thrilling for me, and traveling is not always easy for me. There is definitely a time last week where I felt uncomfortable and I just wanted my own bathroom. I wanted my own bed. But overall, I'm always left with a feeling of like, I don't know, a wonder, wonder and wondering as well. I'm home for a sweet minute now, just the time to, create your content for the next month, do this video, record some podcasts, and then I'm off next week to India. And last week, I kind of learned and really experienced and embodied this concept of showing up empty. I don't know if you've ever been in a place, but you were there, but you weren't really there, meaning like you showed up, but your essence wasn't really there. And I got to confide something in you guys. This often happens to me when I go to other teachers' yoga classes. Because I am a yoga teacher, I know what I like and what I don't like in a yoga class. I know what works for me. I know what doesn't work for me. And I'm really judgmental when I go into somebody else's yoga class, somebody else's studio. My lens, I've just been kind of messed up a little bit because perhaps I know so much, because perhaps I've really studied, and and two, because I know my personal preference. And it's kind of one of those things where it kind of almost like shots me in the foot all the time, because I show up to our workshop, an event, a thing, and I've already have all these expectations. And well, when you show up like that to a place, it's a great way to not learn anything. And it's a great way to not be present in the moment. It's a great way to basically waste your time for like an hour of your day. And a really cool thing happened to me last week where I showed up to a yoga class, and I just emptied myself of all the critiques, all the judgments I had. And it wasn't even like I was a student. It's just I was just empty, and I truly trusted that I was there for like a reason. And it didn't matter if the teacher had this much, uh, training over me or under me. I know that I was meant to receive the message that she had for me. And I want to kind of juxtapose this into our Chic West experience, where you have to be willing to try things you normally wouldn't try. And I love this idea of like emptiness. Because when we're empty, we're ready to fill it in with other things. And that specific yoga class that I'm talking to you about, I had such a cathartic experience, and I really let myself, and that was the mantra for her class, the yoga teacher, was to live in the now. And it reminded me just how much I don't live in the now. I always, live in the future and the past, and perhaps it's the nature of my work, but perhaps it's the nature of being human as well. And we need to be reminded to, just show up, empty. And I just love that principle. And perhaps it's a great little tips that could help you in your Chic West work. I didn't make up this principle. Actually, it was kind of wild coincidence that I was reading a book by Holly Whitaker, and she also reiterated the same fact that I had. Like, I went through that experience, and then I read about it, and I was like, that's what happened to me this week. I showed up empty to this yoga class, and I was completely moved by it. And yeah. One last thing about this, I just want to make it clear, is that showing up empty really means you gotta get rid of all the things you think you know, because those things are actually separating you from the experience that you're meant to be having. And that for me, it was such a huge kind of like mind blown moment where I was like, most of the times, when I go in yoga classes, I completely separate myself from the experience I could be having, because I'm such in the all-knowing, zone. And instead, can I just show up, empty? And by the way, I could still not like that yoga class. It's totally fair, and perhaps if we parallel that to like your Chic West work, to just try and exercise without, oh yeah, I know it's going to do this to me. Actually do it like super empty, getting rid of that all-knowing kind of ego state mind, and fall into a place that is, again, soft and empty. I just love that word empty for this. And yeah, like discernment again after being like, well, that wasn't for me, and that's okay too. Or like, wow, this touched me, this moved something, it shifts something in the core of my being, because it just might. All right, so I thought that was kind of huge, kind of realization, but it gets better because before I left for vacation, I was super stressed. I was like, I shouldn't, kind of guilty mode. Like, I shouldn't be going on vacation. I have so much work to do, so much things. Like, I'm going to India in a few weeks. Like, what was I thinking? All this like chatter. And then before leaving, I decided to do something I hadn't done in a long time, but I have done before. And in one of my meditation, in one of my sittings, I went, universe, I give it to you. I give you all my dreams. I give you all my desires. And there was actually one thing that I was like, I want this, I'm giving you this dream. I'm giving you this dream. And this actual dream was like in between, like, I think of like a needle that's threading, and it was like in the middle of the sweater, and the sweater wasn't done knitting. And I'm like, I'm giving you the sweater. Can you knit it for me? Because I've given it everything I have. I've given. And now I just, universe, can you just hold this for me? I know you will, you will be safe about it. And I trust ya. So anyways, and there I go. I go on vacation. And at the beginning of that week, I got a huge needle thread, and the universe gave me the sweater. And this is an actual thing. Like, it's an actual dream. I still have to be secret about it. But it's, it's a big event that came through for me for the summer. And I just sat there when I got the news. And I just realized that, the universe works in, you give it something, and you have to give it permission for it to receive. So it's a give and receive principle. If you give it all you got, of course the universe will, you'll receive. And often what I've done in my life is that I've given, and then, I hustle. And I never get this time, this kind of like in between time of kind of surrender. And that's the feminine, It's like it's, I give it to you. And to give it to the earth, and it will give it back. It's kind of like a boomerang. It's a feedback loop. And I really got that this week, where I was like, I completely surrendered to it. I just give it, I trust it. And it came back to me so quick. And it made sense. And I felt like it was kind of magic. But at the same time, I'm worth that, because I've given it all my all. Yeah, I'm expecting that the universe gives me back, the same. So think about it as like a give, receive, and see what happens in your life when you're like, okay, this is my problem. I give it to you. This is something that's stuck in my life. Universe, I give it to you, whether that be in your meditation, whether that be in your journaling. And give it, it'll bring you back something. This is a law. I feel this is a law of the universe. So. All right. The final thing is our book and India. So our book this month is Hope for Flowers. It's supposed to be a kid's book, but I don't think it's a kid's book. It's a short read. And it's a classic, and I truly, truly hope you take the time. I do believe you can get it just on the computer as well, so you don't have to get the hard copy. It's a book that I share in a lot of my workshops, and it's a book you'll want to have. It's a revolution. It's about hope, and it's about these caterpillars turning into butterflies. So do please check it out. I can't wait to know what you think about it. And the second thing, I want to tell you why I'm going to India, what's going to happen then. Of course, I realized when I was in Mexico, I cannot be on the platform as much, when I'm away, only for like Wi-Fi reasons. So just bear with me as Heather is watching the communication so very well. leave me, if you send me an email, maybe leave me like 4 or 5 days to answer, but I will answer, and I all the time, whether it takes me a time or not. I'm going there to study goddesses with 2 renowned goddess teachers, and I'm coming back with 5 new yoga dance sequence to bring to you all. You guys are going to get it first in SheQuest, all my new learnings. As a teacher, it's like the most important thing to keep things fresh. I'm not the type of teacher that teaches the same thing over and over again all my life. Ugh, that'd be boring. And it's time for me to go to the motherland of yoga. It's time for me to do some solo traveling. I'm ready. India's calling, and I'm going. I can't wait to share with you my travels, and be well. And I love you lots. Keep engaging on all our communication pathways.